Welcome everybody. The Omega Speedmaster Professional First Man on the Moon is a legendary, iconic watch, and it doesn't need me to explain its features, neither its history, nor another review. Nevertheless, I want to drop some personal thoughts about it. I love all those vintage-like watches, reeditions or reissue pieces that contain all the flavor from the past, the gloss, reliability and lasting from a brand new piece. I own several of them. 3 Longines Heritage, as Legendiver Flagship 1973, a Seiko Turtle, other made by microbrands as Borealis Sturil 300, a modern reinterpretation as Borealis Bull Shark, and many other retro-styled, like Junker Bauhaus, Hamilton Khaki Pioneer, etc. But in all of them there is a lack. Inside those beauties beat completely different hearts from that ones they were in the origin. In the other hand, when a model is successful and becomes a paradigm, the next ones that replace it will inherit its name, despite perhaps the successors has little to do with the first one. The today's Volkswagen Golf just keeps the name of the 17th cars, and nothing else. The same for Rolex Submariner, and many other examples across the history of industry. In a Speedmaster saga there is a peculiar craze. Precisely this Speedmaster, the First Man on the Moon. The Reverie watch has been in production for almost 5 decades, since in 1969 downgraded the caliber 321 to Lemania 861. No further changes were implemented but the caseback or bracelet minor changes. Not a re-edition, the same watch still for sale. The differences between a vintage unit and other one sold yesterday are difficult to spot at first glance, apart from the aging seconds. The caliber has suffered subtle evolutions too, from 861 to 1861. A dinosaur living among us. Can you imagine a 1969's Toyota Corolla still in production, powered by more or less the same engine for almost 50 years? Would you like to wear a brand new, not discontinued, Rolex Sub 1680 1575 caliber, one of my favorite versions indeed, instead of the present model 116610? The Speedmaster First Man on the Moon comes through something almost impossible, and that amazes me far more than all that story about NASA and the space travels. But possibly all that legend around this model has helped Omega to sell a watch that became the workhorse of the brand for decades. From the point of view of the pricing, probably no watch worth its retail price. The Man on the Moon could be considered a premium entry-level watch. It is not cheap at all. Its retail price has risen very fast last years, and the extraordinary presentation case, the best I have seen, do not explain the increase by itself. For sure, the Omega logo weighs a lot in the total amount. Perhaps a half-priced but not cheap Longines column wheel automatic chronograph side by side is at least as good timepiece as the Speedy, and you could find a lot of more examples. Not in vain, in the very same 1969, several brands struggled to get the very first automatic chronograph and the first quad-wrist watch. Both races won by Seiko. Great achievements in the history of horology. And now we look back to get a manual winding study movement. But the fans of watchmaking are like that. In addition, the Omega pricing policy is a bit weird. For example, the steel bracelet version is only €100 more expensive than the leather strap one, lower difference than in any other premium brand. Even Tudor has a difference of $300 between leather and stainless steel bracelets version. However, the Hesalite model is €800 cheaper than the sapphire sandwich one. Why so many feel attracted by this old-fashioned and overpriced watch? It has not the shiny appearance of a modern high-end watch. It is not even a certified chronometer. The loss of a ceramic bezel or a lacquered dial that I love, it is not present in the formula of its appeal. The finishing is good, but not comparable to Grand Seiko or Rolex models. Its appearance is very sober, with its white hands, rough gray dial, and narrow aluminum bezel. Then, where is it? In my opinion, apart from the fascination that could awaken its historical trajectory, the greatest attraction emerged from its general balance. The case, huge for the 60s taste, it's undeniably beautiful still today. It lacks the emotional response generated by color. A watch that looks exactly the same in black and white. But on the contrary, it is more difficult to get tired of it if it attracted you at the first time. I have always liked the best dress watches. They are still my favorites, are the ones that catch my attention the most, and the Holy Grail that appears in my wet dreams is one of them. But leaving apart the price point, never mind a Jacaré-Coultre Master Control, a Portofino, a Maxwell or a Tissot Le Locle, I feel they are not suitable to wear in casual dress. I do not use to wear a classic watch with worn jeans and a jumper or a t-shirt. I am not fan of wearing a dive watch in dinner jacket or a suit either. Bondstrand is not for me. However, as I grow older, I tend to buy more versatile watches. Not only what I like, but also what I am going to use, because usability is important. Buying one I would almost never have occasion to wear is a real waste. From the point of view of wearability, the Man of the Moon is great. Racing timepiece, it is not the most suitable one to wear in a shoot, but its variety is an advantage. Despite it is very recognizable, at the same time its appearance is discreet enough to dress it in any occasion. One of the most wearable watches ever. Decades ago, watches like the Jazz, Aquaterra or cheaper equivalents, as today's DS1 or Spirit, for example, a bit sporty ones but usable in business dress code, were the everyday man watches. Nowadays, dive watches have taken the lead as most used ones. Nevertheless, many of them are too big, too thick, too glossy, or everything at the same time, at the end too noticeable, a bit flashy. Think about watches like Deep Sea, Planet Ocean, Master 300. They become the protagonists of our appearance. It does not matter when you dress casually or you are between friends. Is it desirable in the business environment? Not for me. Not for me. I do not need to demonstrate what I can afford. I prefer a low profile and appropriate look. And I think Speedmaster fits better with this purpose. Some examples where Speedmaster is not the most suitable, but usable in the end. In short, Valentino look, casual, in autumn, in winter, in spring, and summer. Thank you so much for watching. Till next video.